What's up, guys? We are back for another review, and today we're taking a look at a figure, at a line, at a property that I never thought I'd be buying anything from because I don't know anything about the property. I don't know anything about this brand outside of the fact that I just know what it is in a general sense, and that would be a McFarlane Fortnite figure. So I'm very familiar with the buzz around this line. I've seen them in stores, and I finally have one. So I have the Walgreens exclusive glow-in-the-dark green glow Skull Trooper, and let's be honest, I have this because I have zero impulse control, and it glows in the dark, so we had to take a look. So we've got him here in a pretty standard looking box for this line. So you can see him there in the window. We've got the Fortnite seal of approval on the front, I suppose. And then it calls out that, of course, this does glow in the dark. We've got some artwork of the Trooper on the side there. And then we have got a cross-sell on the back for the original wave, as well as some of the newer figures, and then some mystery spots for figures we, I guess, don't know about yet. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the packaging, our Walgreens exclusive glow-in-the-dark Skull Trooper. This is an interesting figure for me because, again, I don't know Fortnite, but I got him because he looks like a cool figure, and I've heard all the buzz around these, and frankly, I've been really interested in getting these to begin with. I just haven't taken the plunge. But seeing that the Walgreens exclusive figure glows in the dark, and he has a cool weapon, I couldn't resist this time around, and I think I've made the right choice. And if anything, I know what we're going to get from McFarlane down the road as far as, articulation, so I'm pretty excited anyway. Otherwise, the figure is kind of basic, but it's still pretty cool at the same time. I mean, he's really a monotone figure, but we're going to take a look first at articulation, see what these guys can do, because that's my main interest with this, seeing how this figure can move, based on the fact that, well, McFarlane figures usually don't move, or they don't move well. So we have got a head that can go back, and the neck is also articulated. So the neck moves back and forth, a little bit side to side. The head can move side to side, back, forward, and swivel. So really good range of motion there. He hits just, where a normal head would hit, because he's got this like kind of bandana down there. But it's not restricted in any way. Arms go out. There is a ratchet in there too, which is really surprising but really cool. They go all the way around. You've got a butterfly joint there. It moves well enough. It's not all that helpful, but it definitely does allow for some nice two-handed poses with his weapon. We've got a bicep swivel. You've got double jointed elbows, and I mean, if those aren't double jointed, I don't know what is, because they are crazy. They go all the way. You've got ball hinge at the wrist, so it'll remind you of like a figure arts wrist. So they will swivel, and then they hinge up and down pretty far as well. You have got an upper diaphragm twist, so side to side, forwards and backwards, and then rotation. Everything's a little creaky on this guy, and I'm assuming that just comes down to plastics that were used. It's not a quality issue, and it doesn't hinder anything, but he's noisy to move around. And then you've got a twist down at the waist. It's another ball peg, so he goes backwards and forwards. So in combination, he goes over about that far. You can probably get him a little bit further, but I don't really want to chance it. And then you get a little more side to side wiggle. The crotch is maybe the only area that I don't really like the way it looks, because everything's meant to look like a pair of pants. So it really fits. So it looks good, but when you start to move it, I don't really care for it. It does move pretty well though. So, they go out about that far, so close to splits, and then he'll kick forward. And if you rotate it a little bit, it will, go further. And then he goes back some as well, and then you can kind of toggle him around there. There is no thigh cut on this figure, so you're sort of missing that, I suppose. And then you've got double jointed knees. And then there's no boot cut or anything here, so you don't have a shin swivel of any kind, but you've got another ball hinge at the ankle. So hinge backwards, forward, there's a rocker down there, and then rotation. And they've also got toe hinges too, which I was surprised to see. I must have missed that when I was looking at these previously. So, compared to most normal figures, this guy is quite well articulated. Compared to a Marvel Legends, it's on par, if not better in many ways, than a Marvel Legends figure. And compared to McFarlane stuff now and, for the past 20 years, this thing is more articulated than just about everything else the company has ever made. So this is a great step in the right direction. Now, as far as Sculpt and Paint, this figure is kind of interesting because, being an exclusive, he is slightly different than the norm, but this figure is still really basic to begin with just because it's molded plastic through and through, with the skeleton structure painted on top of his outfit, basically. So you have got nothing but cast plastic from the neck down, and I believe that the face is probably molded in glow-in-the-dark plastic. It doesn't look like paint, and it reacts different, which we'll see shortly. But there is, of course, a little bit of paint on the face, so you've got like the outlines around the eyes, you've got the teeth, and it's all really clean from the neck up. The plastic is kind of is a matte finish, so it's not really shiny by any means, and of course you heard it creaking, so I'm assuming there is something to do with that as well. Again, it's not a negative, it's just it's just something to mention. And then the paint on the figure itself, you've got a skeleton on the front and the back, and it's all glow in the dark. It's kind of sloppy, I'm not gonna lie. It's not the greatest feature of this figure. The lines are really hazy, and honestly I think it's a little thin because you can see black peeking through just about every bit of it. That said, when you get it glowing, you probably won't care so much, and it doesn't bother me all that much here. It's just, if there's one thing that I'm going to point out about the paint, it's that there isn't a great deal of it, and it's just okay. You do also have a little bit of a dog tag paint here as well, but the figure is still pretty cool. It is also larger than your average figure as well, so just as stuff that I have kind of laying around, and there's a ton of stuff laying around right now, but as far as a recent figure, here he is next to Lord Zed from Hasbro, so you can see that this guy is a little taller. He's also a little on the slender side, so it's not exactly like a Marvel Legends scale type of figure, but it's pretty close. So, for someone like me who doesn't really mix lines all that much, it doesn't matter anyway. But for someone who does, that might be a problem. Otherwise, though, sculpt on him is pretty cool. It's got a lot of like tactical looking gear to him. So he's basically, outfitted in some, he's got like pouches, and he's got, cargo pants, and it's got like wraps on him. It's stuff that kind of gets lost in the sculpt because it's monotone. But there is all of the same sculpt that the regular figure has here as well. And I don't even think the regular figure is all that detailed because of what he is. But this figure does have a lot of sculpt all over it. There is detail where it needs to be. It's just kind of muddled because of what he is, but I can understand and appreciate the fact that it's still there, just underneath the fact that it is an exclusive with a very specific paint deco. And let's be honest, we're buying this figure because he glows. Well, at least I did. Now, as far as accessories goes, this is one of the areas where this figure really does differ from the standard version because, well, he's got less accessories, and then his one real accessory is different. So you have got this big sickle kind of thing going on here, and I just really like the design. So it's really angular. It's got some frosted but translucent plastic going on at the top and the bottom, and it's got a bit of a green hinge to it, so you can kind of see that it starts a little clear, it gets greener in the middle, and then it's clear at the end. So I like the weapon. There's no paint on the actual staff itself. It's all in that clear but frosted kind of plastic, which I really do like. I think it's a cool weapon. The original one has a different melee weapon, and then it's got a backpack because that's a thing for Fortnite, and then he's got a gun as well. This guy only has the one. And then I think all of the other figures have this as well, but he does come with a stand. It's got the Fortnite logo emblazoned in the bottom there. It's just a black piece of plastic. I'm not really sure these figures need them, but McFarlane went the extra mile and gave us one, and I can applaud him for that. I don't really think I'm ever going to need it because this guy's really stable, but it's cool to have that across the line at the very least for consistency's sake. Now, of course, we do have to talk about the fact that he glows, and of course he does glow in the dark, so all of the paint on the body glows, and then the face itself glows, and I find that it's pretty good, but it's not all that great. It fades pretty quickly, as you can see here, so, if you hit him with a little black light, then he will really light up, so it definitely does work, and the face is more glowy than the body, so I'm assuming there's maybe either more paint or it's in the plastic on the face versus just being paint on the body, so you can kind of see that he does glow. It's not the most vibrant ever. Of course, I haven't left him out in the sun for days on end to try it, but he does glow pretty well at that. So you've got another glow-in-the-dark skeleton to add to your ranks, and honestly, this is the real reason why I got this figure, and it lives up to the name pretty well. He glows in the dark, and he's a skeleton. So at the end of the day, despite the fact that I have no attachment or really no intense knowledge on Fortnite at all, this is still a fun figure. I'm slightly concerned that I'm going to have to get more of these because this is just a fun toy to pose around. It looks cool, and there's a lot of cool designs in this line. I was already really close to buying the regular Skull Trooper, but the fact that this one glows in the dark, albeit not all that great, and comes with a much cooler weapon this time around, really sold me. These are just a fun line of figures that have great articulation and are a really good indicator of what we should be getting from McFarlane down the road. So at the very least, I kind of know what to expect from them, and that gets me excited on its own. Otherwise, this is still a fun figure, Fortnite fan or not. It's a glow-in-the-dark skull guy. You really can't go wrong. So that's going to do it for this look at the McFarlane Toys Walgreens exclusive Fortnite Skull Trooper. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.